My first day at the office was pretty easy. No one assigned me any work. I'm happy and carefree, playing with a puppy in the office. After he falls asleep, I got up, closed the door, and headed straight for the archive on the 60th floor. Only by developing a cure for Alzheimer's, and the old lady recovers. She recalled the past. I can understand what this baffling marriage is all about. The books here cover the leading knowledge in every field: 0 hours, 43 minutes and 41 seconds. Greater than 0 hours, 43 minutes and 43 seconds. Some of it is even research that isn't accessible to the outside world. I felt a faint sense of excitement. On the top floor, Shen Yuchu received a text message from Mrs. Shen. Grandma's green bubble Ming has been changed to Grandma who can't be upset. That brat is having lunch with her grandson-in-law. Remember to take a picture of the two of you looking close. 193,200 is to 43, 51, 800, greater than 0 hours, 43 minutes and 53 seconds, 266. When you're eating together, Shen Yuchu sighs helplessly. Presses the call button. Liu Chang is preparing 2 lunches to bring up. He sent me a message, but I haven't replied yet. Reached the 60th floor. I searched behind row after row of bookshelves, and soon spotted Shen Xin staring right at me. I was completely absorbed in looking for a book. I suddenly bumped into someone while backing up. Sorry, I turned my head, but I saw Shen Xin staring at me, Lin Yu, with a complex expression. You go out of your way to please his grandmother. It's not just to get close to your aunt, is it? My expression turned cold instantly. It has nothing to do with you. My aunt has never been interested in men all these years. Don't think you can seduce him just because of your looks. He's not that shallow. Not yet. They just gave me some meaningless job and sent you away. You mean I'm mocking you? You chased me for so long back then. It's because you're rather shallow. Xing Xin's eyes are red. I know you hate me for proposing to Lin Fan, but there's nothing I can do about it. There's a lot to consider in an arranged marriage between wealthy families. Even my mom agrees that I should be with an ordinary person. And your status? No matter what, I would never marry a bastard. Otherwise, how would I ever hold my own in the Shen family? I'll just become a laughingstock in Hecheng. I look away. Thank you for not marrying me. Just as I was about to leave, Shen Xing blocked my path. I can arrange for you to work in our team. I'll find someone capable to mentor you. I know you're so strong. You're so smart. You'll definitely pick it up really fast. I cut him off before he could ramble on. What are the conditions? Get a divorce and come with me. It'll be less trouble. No other woman is allowed to share him. Just thinking about it drives me crazy. I coldly recall that you don't deserve it. Why do you love that thug of a wife of yours so much? Do you believe it or not? I'll give him some money. Or have someone intimidate him. Either way, he'll dump you. He can't hold a candle to me. Hearing this, I gave Shengxin a cold look. I didn't mean to hurt your pride. Since you insist on getting to the bottom of this, then I'll tell you. My wife is prettier than you. And she has a better figure than you. Leaving those words, I turned to leave, and saw Shen Yuju around the corner. I fell silent. He fell silent too. At that moment, Shen Xing, standing behind him, had a dark look in his eyes. He picked up his phone and dialed Lin Fan. Aren't you supposed to have lunch with the professor tomorrow afternoon? Take me with you. Shen Yuchu, however, used the excuse of wanting to have dinner with me. Took me to the top floor. Entered Shen Yuchu's office. He points to the table beside him. You eat first. I still feel a little guilty. The way he looks. He probably didn't hear what he said. I was just thinking. I heard the sound of a camera shutter. Shen Yuchu calmly took the photo and sent it to Grandma. Only then did she walk over. I knew why he was taking the photo, so I didn't ask any further. I just stared at the table, trying to make small talk. Miss Shen's lunch was quite a feast. The woman sat down across from me and picked up her chopsticks gracefully. After all, you need proper nutrition to maintain a good figure. I was stunned. My face flushed. His gaze swept over her snow-white skin, awkwardly packing up a meal. Miss Shen, I just remembered. I haven't fed the kitten yet. I'll go ahead. Thanks for lunch. I'm in high spirits. I leave with my lunchbox. After work, Shen Yuchu called his grandmother. Where are you? I'm at the hospital. I suddenly had chest pain again this afternoon. I want to stay a few more days. You little brat. Are you coming to keep me company in bed tonight? It's fine if you don't. Just let me sit here all alone, looking pitiful. I'll be right there. That's more like. Right, I've already talked it over with my grandson-in-law. He'll come to keep me company too. You're coming with your grandson-in-law, aren't you? Shen Yuchu pressed his temples. He understood his grandmother's little scheme. He sent me a text. I'll pick you up and take you to the hospital after work. I replied right away. No need, I've already hailed a cab and I'm on my way. Even though he wants to keep his distance. But seeing me ward off evil like this? Shen Yuchu. The reluctance deep within me has inexplicably grown a little stronger. I carried the puppy into the inpatient ward. Not far away, Mrs. Lin had just finished her follow-up exam. Lin Fan is supporting his arm. That must be Lin Yu. What's he doing at the hospital? Is he sick? Mrs. Lin hesitates, and Lin Fan feels a surge of anger. Old Madam Shen wouldn't let anyone visit, but she specifically had Lin Yu stay with him. His eyes flickered. It must be to visit Mrs. Shen. Lin Yu is truly a dutiful daughter. Nanny Nanma, what's so filial about me? Haven't seen him come to visit the lady either. Madam, you're even speaking up for him? Lin Yu is nothing but an ungrateful wretch. I'm afraid I've long since forgotten you. Lin Fan interjects. I heard Miss Shen got him a job at the Shen Group. That's why he's repaying Lady Shen, isn't it? Nanny Nan chuckled. Madam, she even raised him. The debt of gratitude for raising him is greater than heaven itself. Let him repay the lady's kindness. Don't say another word, Mrs. Lin interrupted. Lin Fan feigned emotion. Mom, you mean well? But there are also those who repay a drop of kindness with a gushing spring. For example, with the doctor. Mom just gave him a little money. Just think of all he's done for our family over the years. 3 years ago, the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. And the doctor directly granted a technology patent that allowed us to switch to Waynon. Mom nodded. So this pair is so much better than Dr. Billing's language class. I'd like to know that too. What kind of person is Dr. Mom exactly? Take me with you tomorrow. Mrs. Lin smiled and ruffled his hair. I'll take you. This scene was just witnessed by someone sitting in the VIP ward. On the sofa. I watched Mrs. Lin. His face has an unhealthy pallor. Lin Fan was whispering something to him. Mrs. Lin nodded helplessly. The mother and son are acting affectionately until the car drives away. Did I reluctantly look away? I turned around. The little old lady was standing right behind me, my granddaughter's husband. Who is that guy that looks familiar? My eyes and brows are gentle. Just about to speak. His eyes suddenly lit up. I remember now, he's your mom. You two look just like me. I paused for a moment. Actually, Mrs. Lin and I are alike in more ways than just our facial structure. We don't really look alike. Only that aloof demeanor is exactly the same. After all, after leaving the Lin family, I've always instinctively tried to figure out his way of handling things. I've picked up a bit of his aura. I looked at the little old lady grandma. She's not my mom. But the little old lady was absolutely certain. He is my granddaughter's husband. How could you not recognize your own mother? I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Luckily, Shen Yuchu showed up at the door carrying dinner. The dinner Shen Yuchu prepared was quite a feast. He also brought enough fruit for the 3 of them. As soon as the little old lady saw it, she immediately frowned. My grandson-in-law can't eat mangoes. She's allergic to mangoes. My heart skipped a beat. Kao Yi looked at his grandmother. How do you know? I used to have allergies. But I was desensitized 2 years ago. I've never mentioned this to her. You told me about the old lady's filial piety before. You said that whenever you eat a mango, your face breaks out in little red bumps. When did I start looking so serious? The little old lady looked confused again. I think you told me that before we got married. My heart is in turmoil. I'm sure I didn't even know him before we got married. It's even less poetic. I hurriedly asked if you could think of anything else. Like how Miss Shen and I got our marriage certificate. The little old lady shook her head and said she couldn't remember. I sensed Shen Yuchu's scrutinizing gaze. His expression was icy. I know he must think I have ulterior motives again. I'd never be able to clear my name, no matter what. I picked up Grandmother Shiba Inu. You guys eat first. I'm going to walk the dog. I'm hiding at the end of the hallway, quietly looking toward the ward. Not long after, Shen Yuchu followed him out. Is there something you'd like to say, young Master Lin? I thought you'd want me to explain something. Is there anything young Master Lin would like to explain? I'll answer honestly about what Grandma said regarding before the wedding. I really don't know what's going on. This kind of thing involving privacy. That old hag couldn't have made that up. I thought he'd question it. But he just calmly replied, You're fierce. Miss Shen, trust me. Shen Yuchu approaches her. Her tone is cold and sharp. Young Master Lin, I don't care what your motives are. If you can keep Grandma happy, then I promise to keep you safe. I understand. He doesn't care about the truth. As long as grandma is happy, he can even outsmart me at everything. Turn a blind eye, he added forcefully. If you hurt grandma, I'll make sure you can't set foot in Haicheng. I let out a cold laugh. Hasn't Miss Shen already done that? Shen Yuchu was just about to speak. Professor Wen's voice suddenly came through the rain. Professor Wen walks over. His voice is hoarse. I was just about to call you to ask if you found a job. You and Miss Shen. Has the misunderstanding between you and Miss Shen? Miss Shen really isn't a very nice person, is she? Why are you being so petty? It's one thing to revoke your spot in the graduate school recommendation program, and then to go and say you should just disappear from Haicheng. Shen Yuchu, standing nearby, looked completely puzzled. But I gave him a half smile and said, don't worry, Professor. It's already been resolved. It was just a misunderstanding. Miss Shen is actually quite nice. Not only did she find me a job, but also keep me safe. Shen Yuchu's expression darkened. Professor Wen let out a sigh of relief. Then he looked at Shen Yuchu, instinctively asking, is this your thug of a wife? Shen Yuchu's face turned completely dark, but my smile grew even wider. I suppose so. Professor Wen spoke earnestly to Shen Yuchu. The young lady is so beautiful. You really need to find a proper job. Right now, 0 restaurants, 0 hours, 49 minutes and 43 seconds, greater than 0 hours, 49 minutes and 44 seconds, Lin Zenon asked with concern. Mrs. Lin, who has lost her appetite. Yeah, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Lin Fan interjected. Dad. We ran into Lin Yu at the hospital today. Mom must be a little worried about him. Why worry about him? Lin Fan sighed. He must hate me now. I'm worried he'll say something to Mrs. Shen. Miss Shen will take it out on me. Lin Jinan sneered. It was his fault for offending Miss Shen. What does that have to do with you? Just as he was speaking, Lin Zenan's phone rang. It was Shen Yuchu's aide, Liu Chiang. Liu Teju, how come you have time to call me? Is this Miss Shen? How may I assist you? The voice on the other end of the line was unusually cold. The boss asked me to check with young master Lin Fan. When did he say that young master Lin Yu should disappear from Haicheng? How come the boss doesn't even know himself? Lin Zhenen's face fell. He looked at Lin Fan in disbelief. Liu Chiang left with one final remark. The Lin family really should teach Xiaobi a lesson. After saying that, she hung up the phone immediately. Lin Fan, standing nearby, hung his head in silence. At the time I saw Lin Yu pestering Miss Shen, I was afraid he'd interfere with my marriage to Sister Shenjin. Dad, I didn't mean to. Lin Fan's pale-faced protest. After all, Lin Yu is your son. I'm afraid you won't have the heart to scold him. Lin Zhenan changed the subject. How many times have I told you? 0 hours 50 minutes and 32 seconds. Greater than 0 hours 50 minutes and 33 seconds. In my heart there is only one son. And that's you. Who do you think you are, Lin Yu? Can he even compare to you? Mrs. Lin disagreed with Zhenan. Lin Yu is your son, after all. Lin Zenden immediately turned to Xia. Back then he was tricked by Liu Li. I mistreated his son. I won't admit it. In my heart there's only you and our son. Liu Li, standing nearby in her role as the nanny. Upon hearing this, he clenched his fists in anger. He looked at Lin Zhenan with a bitter expression. This was the man he loved deeply. The older brother next door who grew up with him. But in this man's eyes, there was only Li Xia. Back then, after she got pregnant, she went to find him with the Yan Yundan and said she could be his mistress. But he mercilessly sent him away, saying he wouldn't let his wife Liu Li down. There really is no other way. I have no choice but to find Li Xia. She'd rather die than stay with the Lim family. All these years, Lin Zhenan has never said much to him. And he's practically treated Lin Yu like he's invisible. Luckily he switched the two children. Liu Li lowered her head. She fought back the smile in her eyes. Lin Zhenan will never know. He keeps saying he's Li Xia's son. Treasured. Lin Fan, who has been in pain for so many years, was actually his son. As for Lin Yu, he deserves to be ignored and suppressed. But Mrs. Lin stubbornly shook her head. Jingnan. Lin Fan, wrong is wrong. We should go home and apologize to Lin Yu. Lin Jinan, looking jealous, apologizes. My son went to apologize to Liu Li's son. Liu Li was too busy to even say no. The Lin family raised him. What a huge favor that was. It's only natural to discipline him. Mrs. Lin watched them and sighed softly, but did not argue further. When Lin Fan walked him back to his room, Mrs. Lin spoke up again. If you have time tomorrow, I'll take you to see Lin Yu to apologize in person. Lin Fan's face fell. Aren't you planning to take Shengshin to meet the doctor? Let's go together tomorrow. Lin Fan's eyes lit up instantly. She wrapped her arm around his. Okay, Mom. You're still the best to me. Wait until he leaves. Mrs. Lin looks at her wife Nanma and Nanji. My health hasn't been good these past few years. I haven't taken good care of myself. Lin Fan really is derelict in his duties. Madam, you're overthinking it. Young Master Lin Fan is a dutiful and considerate son. Just a minor flaw that will be fixed later. Mrs. Lin gave a bitter smile. Lin Yu never lies. He started coughing violently. With Nanma's support, he walks toward the bed. That secret still weighs heavily on him. The next day, I've been a little nervous ever since I woke up this morning. It's been 10 years since I last saw Mrs. Lin. I don't know if he'll be happy or angry to see me. I went home at noon to change clothes. The old lady asked Shen Yuchu to take her home. The two of them walked out of the hospital room. As soon as they went downstairs, they saw Liu Chang walking toward them. Shen Yuchu nodded at him. Liu Chang handed a piece of paper to me. Young Master Lin. You can take a look. There's a Rao listed there. Professor specializing in new energy at renowned domestic universities. I looked at Liu Chang in confusion. These are all more famous than Professor Baiwen. Professors can choose one to continue their graduate studies. It's compensation from the boss for revoking your direct admission to graduate school. Young Master Lin met our boss. You could say it's a blessing in disguise. I twitched the corner of my mouth. No, thanks. So you want to do a PhD? Liu Chang, no. This is a bit tricky. And the doctor is in high demand right now. A genius professor like that will only accept genius students. You probably didn't catch his eye. Or maybe you shouldn't be so full of yourself. At worst, after I graduate from grad school, I'll just go back to Dr. Yu to pursue a PhD. I gave him a look as if he were an idiot. I turned directly to Shen Yuchu and said, Miss Shen, you don't need to walk me out. I'll take a cab home myself. Shen Yuchu stared in the direction I was leaving. Suddenly she said to Liu Chang, then help him get in touch with Dr. Yu. Liu is so intense. Outside the private dining restaurant, Mrs. Lin arrives early with Lin Fan and Shen Xin. Shen Xin pushed open the door to the private room. What catches her eye is the upright silhouette of a man pouring tea. Hello, doctor. This is Shen Xin from the Shen group. Nice to meet you. I turned around. My face was drenched with 40,000 raindrops. What are you doing here? That's what I should be asking you. My voice sounds so laid back. Shen Xin's face turned cold. Don't worry. I didn't come here to see you. What about the doctor? Where is he? I didn't say anything. Mrs. Lin walked in with Lin Fan. When Mrs. Lin saw me, her eyes welled up. You're Lin Yu. I'm a bit moved. Madam, how have you been lately? I'm fine, Lin Yu. How about you? I heard from your dad that you got married. Mrs. Lin held my hand and wouldn't let go. I couldn't help but sigh. A dark gleam flashed in Lin Fan's eyes. Lin Yu was supposed to invite you to join us for dinner. But since you're working, it probably wouldn't be convenient for you. We'll give you a little extra tip later. It's a little something to help with your living expenses. Cut it out. Mrs. Lin scolded him and hurriedly looked at me. Lin Yu, we have an appointment with the doctor today. You work in the new energy field too, right? Let's get to know. Interested in your future. Lin Fan is afraid I'll take his resources. He picked up the scalding teacup and walked over to me. Lin Yu, my mom told me yesterday to apologize to you. I'll offer you a cup of tea instead of wine. As soon as he finished speaking, he loosened his grip. The tea was about to spill on me. I dodged to the side. The teacup bounced off Lin Fan. The scalding liquid makes him cry out in pain as if caught in the rain. I know you hate me. But how could you do this? He cried out in frustration. I lowered my gaze, feigning innocence and embarrassment. I didn't see it. Shen Xin said angrily, getting wet in the rain. Is this how you act as a waitress? If you hurt a customer, call your manager right away. I'm going to file a complaint against you. Mrs. Lin, just protect me. We're all family. Mom's sister Shen Xin is angry. Let Lin Yu go out first. To avoid another confrontation, Mrs. Lin looked at me with remorse. Then you come home more often when you have time. Next time I get the chance, I'll take you to visit Dr. Yu. Lin Fan quickly changed the subject. Mom, why isn't the female PhD here yet? My fourth consort Xiao Dao has already arrived. The three people in the room all turned to look at me. Mrs. Lin was just about to ask, when she suddenly began coughing violently and fainted right at the dining table. Madam, I instinctively reached out to support her. But Lin Fan pushed me away forcefully. Get out of the way. What did you do to my mom? Mom, wake up. The ambulance arrived quickly. I want to get in. But Shen Xin grabbed me by the arm. Bastard, stay away from Mrs. Lin. If you make him sick or something, I won't let this go. I took a taxi and followed him straight to the hospital. The hallway was packed with people. No beds available. Shen Yuchu saw this from upstairs and instructed Liu Chang, arrange a hospital room for young Master Lin. The front desk receives a call. Immediately calls out, a VIP room just became available. Lin Fan was overjoyed. Sister Shen, you really know how to get things done. Shen acknowledged the credit. A group of people moved into the ward. I followed them step by step, but was stopped at the door by Lin Fan. Lin Yu. My mom deserves respect. Don't bother him. The door slams shut. I stood there frozen. My heart was pounding. But I'm not allowed in Tadaka and I can only sit on the bench. Not long after, a series of hurried footsteps could be heard. Lin Zinin rushes into the ward, his face full of worry, to make sure Mrs. Lin was all right, and dragged Lin Fan out. Lin Zhenan frowned and asked what was going on. Why would he faint out of the blue? Lin Fan looked at me sitting next to him. It's Lin Yu. Insisted on meeting drive. Had a brief argument with Sister Shen. And upset mom. Lin Zhenan immediately turned his fury on me, that wretch. Without a word, he swung his arm in a wide arc and struck at me. I didn't dodge. My mind was filled with Mrs. Lin's pale face. Perhaps, just as Lin Fan said, my appearance is in itself a harbinger of his misfortune. The pain he foresaw. I opened my eyes and saw only a cold, solitary figure standing in front of me. Shen Yuchu was standing there, as if he were holding up the sky for me. Lin Jinan, Huang Wandao, Miss Shen. Is this how Mr. Lin teaches his son? I shouldn't have gotten involved. But Grandma likes him now. She'd be upset if she saw a scratch on young Master Lin's face. Shen Yuchu has a deep, pleasant voice. Lin Jinan, I'll be right there. I didn't think this through. Mrs. Lin's coughing could be heard from the hospital room. Lin Jinan and Lin Fan immediately went inside. I stood at the doorway, hesitating for a long time. Listening to his weak voice coming from inside, I'm fine. Don't worry. I haven't had a good night's sleep in a long time. I just passed out. Slept very soundly. That's when my heart finally relaxed. Shen Yuchu asks why he can't get in. We won't go in for now. Otherwise it'll just be another heated argument and disturb Mrs. Lin's rest. I spoke in a low voice. No sooner had I turned away than the little old lady, supported by the butler, and walked over. I heard my daughter-in-law's mother is in the hospital. I'll come take a look. I'll hold his arm, Grandma. Mrs. Lin isn't my mom. Did I mistake her for someone else? The little old lady takes out her phone. She flips through it, finds a group photo and hands it to my grandson-in-law. This is the one you sent me before. You said it was you and your mom. Aren't the people in the ward the same as the ones in the photo? I froze for a moment. In the photo, Mrs. Lin and I are sitting by the sea, beaming. A mother and son. But I haven't seen him since I left the Lin family. How could there be a photo of us together? I zoomed in on the photo and found a clue. This is a composite photo of Zhang Zhuoli. When did I send this to you? The little old lady shook her head. She couldn't remember. Then how did I send it to you? By email or text message? He kept shaking his head, unable to remember. I felt a bit helpless. But the little old lady is adamant. Her grandson-in-law. He is your mother. You can't just ignore your mom, can you? After seeing the old lady off, Shen Yuchu stands in the hallway. Liu Chang quickly walks over to report that the boss has looked into it. Young Master Lin went to work at that private dining restaurant and then ran into a neighbor. Shen Yuchu cleared his throat. The Shen group pays him very little. Otherwise, why would he go out to work? That's quite a lot. The old lady arranged it for him. Maybe the supervisor assigned him a task that was too difficult. He's worried he'll get fired. But Shen Yuchu felt it wasn't that simple. What are the neighbors doing at that private dining restaurant? They made a reservation with Dr. Yu. That's why Miss Shen took this action as well. And Dr. Yu? He never showed up in the end? A faint glimmer flickered in Shen Yuchu's deep calculating eyes. A faint, absurd thought began to take shape. Inside the hospital room, after resting, Mrs. Lin is feeling much better. Lin Fan told Shen to go home first. Lin Fan looks awkward. Shen stayed here purely to wait for Dr. Mrs. Lin realized. Hand me your phone. You stood me up today. I should explain things clearly to Dr. Yu. Once Mrs. Lin reschedules, Lin Fan only then saw Shen out. In the hallway, Lin Fan says to Shen, Sister Shen, don't worry. Dr. Yu, there definitely won't be any problems here. How many departments are there in the R&D division of the Shen group? As long as we can get Dr. Yu to join us. I'll have done my part. 0 hours 57 minutes and 23 seconds. Greater than 0 hours 57 minutes and 23 seconds. Gain a foothold. That's why Dr. Yu is so important to me. You must convince him. The two enter the elevator. I step out from the corner. I push open the door and enter the ward. Lin Jianen's face immediately darkened. What are you still doing here? Is that Lin Yu? Let him in quickly. Mrs. Lin's gentle voice rang out. Lin Jianen warned me not to upset his wife again. I told you, today wasn't because of Lin Yu. It's just that I haven't slept well for days. Mrs. Lin let out a strange cry and grabbed my hand. Child, you must have been scared today. His palm is warm. I smiled and said no. I'll come home more often from now on. And your wife? Your mom said he's a small-time thug. But I don't believe it. Lin Yu has had good eyesight since she was little. One by one straight. The person you're interested in must have some good qualities. Bring him over for me to meet sometime. My nose is getting a little stuffy. He starts coughing violently again. I pulled out a plastic bottle. This is the cough medicine I had someone buy for me. Take one when you can't sleep at night. Mrs. Lin nodded in agreement as I left the ward. I hear Lin Jianen muttering disdainfully inside. How could I have been taken in by this one bottle? I don't know which little clinic prescribed this medicine to bribe me. He casually tossed the medicine bottle into the trash can. Late at night, Mrs. Lin woke up coughing again. Her anxiety was so intense that she contemplated suicide. As if possessed, he picked up the medication from the trash can and took one. A wave of coolness instantly enveloped the itchy tip of my throat. He drifted off to sleep. The next morning at 10 o'clock. Mrs. Lin is woken up by Lin Jianen. He actually slept straight through until dawn, madam. The sleeping pills the doctor gave him yesterday really worked. You actually slept for a full 10 hours. Mom Nan was so excited her eyes were red. What sleeping pills? Mrs. Lin is fierce. Nan Ma looks at Lin Fan. Miss Shin Shin found you. I specifically got some strong sleeping pills. And slipped them. I didn't expect it to actually work. Mrs. Lin paused. He felt his throat clear up considerably. His gaze fell on the unlabeled plastic bottle by the pillow. Lin Jianen aims at his daughter-in-law. Everyone praises this daughter-in-law, saying she's truly wonderful. I heard the inpatient ward is full these days. It was Shen Xing who pulled a lot of strings, that he was able to arrange this room. We really have him to thank this time. Lin Fan pressed his advantage. Mom, Sister Shen Shin is so devoted to you. You should help him out too. The company wants Sister Shen Shin to manage the R&D department. But the researchers aren't happy about it. If we could invite Drive to serve as an unofficial technical support, Sister Shen Shin will be able to gain a foothold. Mrs. Lin hesitated for a moment. Since we're here, I'll ask Dr. Yu. But if he doesn't agree, never mind. Lin Fan is full of benefits. In his view, as far as he was concerned, Mrs. Lin took out her phone and finds the doctor's profile picture. After carefully choosing my words, I sent the message to Xiaoyu. Are you free? I'd like to ask you for a favor. When you received the message, I just got back from taking the old lady downstairs for a walk. I furrowed my brow. What could Mrs. Lin possibly want with me? Could there have been a problem with yesterday's medicine? That drug is still in the clinical trial phase. It's clear he's seriously ill. That's why I took it out early. I'm getting a little anxious. Have the nurse take the little old lady back to her room. Then hurried over to Mrs. Lin. I soon arrived at the hospital room and found that Shen Xin and Liu Lijing were both there. The sound of laughter filled the room the moment I walked in. Came to an abrupt halt. I feel like I'm in the way. Seeing that Mrs. Lin is fine, he lowers his head and prepares to leave. But Liu Li spoke up. Isn't that young Master Lin? How did you manage to land such a high-profile connection with Lady Shen? People like us aren't good enough for you. I turned to leave. But he grabbed her by the arm. I heard you're completely focused on currying favor with Lady Shen. Spending the whole night cleaning up after her? Do you really think they treat you like their own grandson? What are you daydreaming about? You're nothing but a plaything to them. Lin Fan hurriedly. Don't say that. Old Lady Shen thinks highly of Lin Yu. Her voice rises fluently. What kind of respect is that? Miss Shen Shin, this is what it means to value you, Lin Fan. He looked at Shen Shin with a flattering expression. I heard they couldn't free up a hospital room at all yesterday. Even families with good connections have to wait in line. It's all thanks to Miss Shen Shin that Mrs. Tsering was able to move into the VIP ward. Shen Jin looked at me. With a humble smile I said my aunt doesn't know about this. Otherwise, she would have helped. It's just a small contribution. Even if Miss Shen knew, she wouldn't care about you. Liu Li mocked me again. No matter how much you try to please me. Them. They just treat you like a cat or a dog to play with. I clench my fists. I don't want to argue in the hospital room. He's rushing in from outside. Shen Yuchu, who had rushed in from outside, took these words to heart. His expression cold and stern. Liu Chang immediately understood what the boss meant. She cleared her throat and walked into the room. Mrs. Lin, I'm here on behalf of President Shen to offer our condolences. Are you comfortable in this room? 1 hour 0 minutes and 23 seconds. Greater than 1 hour 0 minutes and 24 seconds. The room is deathly quiet. Everyone looks at Shenshin, who looks completely lost. Liu Li is stunned. Xuanji, filial piety, Miss Shenshin. So this is the ward? Was arranged by Miss Shen at your request. Shenshin's face fell. Liu Chang, however, is devoted to his parents. This was arranged by Mr. Lin, through the boss. Miss Shenshin, did you talk to the boss too? Shenshin felt so embarrassed, she wanted to crawl into a hole. I made a lot of calls back then. And reached out to several people. I misunderstood Lin Fanjin. I just feel so embarrassed. Mrs. Lin broke the eerie silence. Thank you, Miss Shen. It's very nice living here. I'll go visit the old lady once I'm feeling better. Liu Chang said you're living well. Mr. Lin isn't worried. But the old lady is happy. That's clearly a compliment. Everyone in the room felt the same way. Mrs. Lin, however, was genuinely happy. I'm rooting for Liu Li. The sarcasm is clear. Liu Li furious. You little brat. What are you so smug about? Shut up. Lin Zhenan snapped that his wife was sick and needed to rest as much as possible. Why are you wasting money here? Get the hell home. Liu Li glared at me with hatred, covered her face and ran off. I looked at the lady in the hospital bed. How did you sleep last night? Mrs. Lin's hand instinctively grabbed the small medicine packet under the quilt. Slept well. It's been a long time since I slept this well. He's fine? I'm leaving first. Liu Chang and I walked out the door. Shen Yuchu is leaning against the wall in the hallway, looking at his phone. The light and shadow cast a cool, pale profile on his face. Lend me a hand. He opened his lips and said, Grandma is worried. And insisted that I come and take a look myself. Though the voice sounds distant, but my heart is full of joy. The ward door opens. Shen and Lin Fan walk out. They see me standing with Shen Yuchu. Lin Fan was on high alert. Shen instinctively confronts her aunt. What are you doing here? Shen Yuchu looks pleased. I don't think I need to report my whereabouts to you yet. A powerful sense of oppression made Shen's palms sweat. He looked at me, young Master Lin, with intense eyes. You've been taking care of great-grandma at the hospital. Does your wife mind? I'm a little confused. Setting aside Shen Yu's cooking skills. The fourth consort Xiao probably wouldn't mind. Shen's face turned pale. Shen Yuchu suddenly spoke up. Is this the ward? Grandma is waiting for you. I smiled faintly and said, let's go back. We turned and walked away, leaving Shen with a lingering gaze. As she returned to Mrs. Lin's hospital room to make the bed, she gasped in surprise at the sight of a bottle of medicine on the bed. Lin Jinan frowns. Isn't this the unlicensed medicine Lin you gave me? Yeah, how did you end up with it? I took one last night. It seems to be working. Mrs. Lin explains. How could that be? It's clearly the sleeping pills taking effect. Lin Jinan snatched the medicine. I don't know where to buy the medicine he gave me. What if it makes me sick? I'll give it a try and not eat that tonight. Let's see which one actually works. Late at night, Mrs. Lin is once again coughing uncontrollably. Nanny Nan brought over the sleeping pills that had been praised as a miracle cure, only to find they don't work at all. Mrs. Lin's face turned bright red from coughing. Then Nanma rushed out to get my medicine. Just about to give him the medicine, but Lin Fan grabbed his hand. Mom, could this medicine be causing my cough to get worse? It's best not to take medication of unknown origin. Lin Jinan angrily slaps Lin Yuxia. You've been so good to him, and yet he used the medicine to harm you. Mrs. Lin is coughing so hard, she can't speak. Staring intently at Mrs. Nan. Mrs. Nan is the most loyal. Braving the pressure, she's about to shove it into the lady's mouth. The coughing stops instantly. Mrs. Lin often says, take a deep breath. It must have been Lin Yu who made this happen. The group went into the outer room. Lin Fan's face is deathly pale. Dad? Lin Yu actually managed to get the miracle drug. What kind of connections could he possibly have? Miss Shen must have bought it for me. Lin Jinan frowned. It seems Lady Shen really holds him in high regard. Shen Yuchu is chatting with her grandmother. What did you have for lunch today? The little old lady thought about it for a long time. Plain rice porridge. I don't think so. It's noodles, you little brat, isn't it? Shen Yuchu nodded with a smile. But her heart sank. We had rice for lunch. Grandma forgot again. His memory loss seems to be getting worse. I suddenly spoke listlessly. Grandma, what color were Miss Shen's earrings yesterday? The little old lady immediately said, purple. That brat is so particular. She even brought diamond cufflinks. The day before yesterday was blue. I was the one who bought him that blue earring. I smiled faintly at Shen Yuchu. With a meaningful look. Grandma remembers the things she cares about very clearly. Shen Yuchu looked at me. I was curled up on the recliner, fiddling with my phone. Looking relaxed. I was just trying to comfort him. His restless heart seems to be slowly calming down. The little old lady suddenly smiled at her grandson-in-law. Everything I just said is right, isn't it? I nodded and said yes. Did you see that, you little brat? My son-in-law doesn't even know what you wear every day. So clearly. He has you in his heart. I was completely taken aback. I just have a photographic memory. I really didn't try to squeeze in. I was just about to explain. But I saw that Shen Yuchu was just staring at the computer and ignoring me. What I didn't notice was that the tips of his ears were turning slightly red. I continued looking at the information on my phone. The final stages of Alzheimer's. Still no clue. I'll get up and go for a walk. Just went downstairs to walk the dog. Someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and saw it was Liu Li. That's the brother from the gambling city. Uncle Liu Yaoguang. It's been a long time since I've seen my eldest nephew. I'll step back. What are you doing here? Isn't this my grandnephew? Didn't you hear that your nephew? Uncle's been a bit short on cash lately. Could you lend your uncle some money? I scoffed and said I didn't have any money. You take such good care of that old woman. And she didn't even give you any money. I narrowed my eyes. He hasn't given me any yet. Maybe I'll give some later. Don't just sit there grinning like a creep. Then you have to lend it to uncle. If you give him too much, uncle can tell you a secret. He chuckles and walks away. I let out a silly laugh. Just then, my phone rang. I picked it up to look. It was actually Mrs. Lin calling. Meanwhile, in another ward, Dr. Lin Fan Jianyu hasn't replied yet. Shen Jin is pressing him again. So she stole his phone while Mrs. Lin was fast asleep. He found Xiaoyu in the contact list and dialed her number right away. The call connected. My voice is clear. Hello. Is something wrong, Mrs. Lin? Lin Fan froze in surprise. Lin Yu stared in disbelief. He would never mistake that voice. A flutter in my heart. His voice grew colder. Lin Fan. What are you doing with Mrs. Lin's phone? This is your phone number. I'm rambling a bit. What kind of nonsense are you talking about? Lin Fan finally realized. Lin Yu's name also contains the character for rain. Mrs. Lin sometimes calls him Xiaoyu. He breathed a huge sigh of relief. Lin Fan's secret disguise. And said viciously, I just wanted to tell you, even if you've hooked up with Miss Shen through Lady Shen, at best, you're nothing more than a plaything. Miss Shen is married. But I'm different. I'm going to marry Sister Shen Xin someday. And become a proper son-in-law of the Shen family. Well, congratulations. In high society, it's not enough to just talk about feelings. I've got a real prize in my hands with Doctor. I'll always be unbeatable. Hang up. I twitched the corner of my mouth. When did I become Lin Fan's top lieutenant? Immediately after. Dr. Yu registered under Mrs. Lin's name, fired his green cannon. It's Lin Fan again. I'll turn on the voice changer to answer. Lin Fan spoke in an extremely respectful tone. Hello, Dr. Yu. I'm sorry to bother you. I'm Lin Fan, Li Xia's son. The Shen group would like to invite you to join their R&D team. My mom feels the same way. Are you interested? I coldly interrupted. I'm only interested in the properties under Mrs. Lin's name. Company. After saying that, he hung up immediately. It's now Monday. I went back to work at the Shen group. I just left the hospital and was about to hail a cab. A Bentley pulled up smoothly right next to me. Shen Yuchu looked straight ahead as he gets into the car. Grandma asked me to drive you to work. Shen Yuchu glanced at me and wanted to take a photo. I got into the back seat. He raised his phone and took a photo of the two of us. I gave a thumbs up, smiling brightly. Shen Yuchu was actually a bit dazed. Arrived at the company, I headed straight to the data center on the 60th floor. At that moment, the R&D department is announcing Shen Xingsheng's promotion to Deputy Prime Minister. So he hired Yubo in the office on the top floor. Liu Qianghui is tracking my movements. His purpose in coming here was to look up information. He spent the whole morning in the library and hasn't had lunch yet. Shen Yuchu's mind flashed. Go downstairs alone to look for me. in front of the neurology bookshelf. I'm standing on a ladder to get materials from the top shelf. I was overjoyed when I got the book. I missed a step and fell, and ended up pinning Shen Yuchu beneath him, and realized it was him. I jumped up. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that just now. Shen Yuchu paused for a moment before standing up. His ears turned red, but she pretends not to care. The atmosphere is a bit awkward. I made up an excuse and slipped away. Before leaving, I grabbed that important book in an inconspicuous corner. I'll go back to the library this afternoon. But found the book was gone. I'm full of questions. Then it dawned on me. There's only one person in the whole company who can just take books. Top floor. Shen Yuchu is currently leafing through that profound neurology textbook. His brow is furrowed. Liu Qiang mutters to himself nearby. The boss getting caught in the rain is just ungrateful. He's not here to work at all. Like he wasn't here to work in the first place. Shen Yuchu replied indifferently. Liu Qiang asked if the book needed to be returned. Shen Yuchu just tapped the book. Thinking of those hopeful dreamy eyes of mine today, I feel an inexplicable heat in my chest. I don't need it for now. After work, the Bentley is parked in the underground garage. Liu Qiang asks, "Are you leaving, boss?" No rush. Shen Yuchu holds the thick reference book in his hand. He didn't look up until I got in the car and said, "Let's go." Liu Qiang looked a bit dazed. It seems the boss didn't invite young Master Lin along. After work, back at the hospital, just got to the VIP ward. I just heard Liu Li's ingratiating voice. "Madam, I came here specifically to see you. Come to think of it, we really are meant to be." Old Lady Shen blocked the doorway and watched him leave. "If you don't leave, I'll have someone beat you up." Liu Lipei laughs and says, "I am Lin Yu's mother." "Madam, isn't he your favorite? For his sake, you shouldn't treat me like this." "You're not his mother," Old Lady Shen said with certainty. "Mrs. Lin is his mother." Liu Li broke out in a cold sweat. She instinctively asked, "How do you know he was scared?" "About the baby swap?" Only he and his younger brother Liu Yaoguang knew. What gives Old Lady Shen the right to be so flawed? When she saw Chef Shen and me approaching, she quickly composed herself, clearly feeling guilty. Walked up to me and handed me the thermos. "You're getting soaked in the rain. Mom's here to bring you some chicken soup. You've worked hard taking care of the old lady. Eat more, to build up your strength." I just feel so frustrated. Dandan asks what you want. Or just the remaining 2% of the shares. "Mrs. Shen values you so highly. If you ask, she'll definitely agree to help your brother. Otherwise, in front of Xingxin, he wouldn't even be able to hold his head up." My eyes were cold and hungry as I said I wouldn't help. Liu Li's face fell. "Why not just sit down and cry it out? I worked so hard to give birth to you. And now that you've climbed the social ladder, you've turned your back on me without a second thought. Everyone, come take a look. My son is such an ungrateful wretch. He looks down on me because of my humble background. Do you want to be someone's grandson?" The neighbors are pointing and whispering. I watch him without showing any reaction. The sense of helplessness in my heart grew stronger. Making a racket and disturbing others. Rest. Security will ask you to leave. After saying that, I walked right past him. Liu Li flew into a rage at the ungrateful wretch. He jumped up suddenly and violently splashed the chicken soup at me. "Watch out." A pair of cold hands pulls me into an embrace. Shen Yuchu stood behind me and took all the heat for me. My pupils contracted and hurriedly asked, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," he said, furrowing his brow slightly. He looks at the fleeing Liu Li. Enter the ward. The little old lady anxiously tugs at his clothes. "Take it off quickly. Let me see how the perm turned out. Are there any blisters? Does it hurt? Son-in-law, hurry up and put some medicine on it." The little old lady is about to shove it at me. "Everyone else has been kicked out. I'm leaving my grandson-in-law in your care. Only 2 people remain in the ward." Shen Yuchu whispered that it was grandma being silly. "I'll have the nurse come in." "I'll do it." I walk up behind him. The twilight light falls on his back. I dip my fingertips in the ointment and gently apply it. He was never born? Until the medication was finished. He smoothed his hair back. "Thank you, young Master Lin." "You're welcome. Actually, you didn't have to shield me from him. Grandma would be so sad if you got hurt." Shen Yuchu stared at me intently. "Forget that you're my husband now." My heart skips a beat. I always feel that Shen Yuchu now is a little different. "I'm going out for a bit. What are you going to do?" To get revenge, I was actually going to look for Liu Li. But I caught sight of Lin Fan and my uncle Liu Yaoguang in the hallway. Liu Yaoguang was rubbing his hands together. "Nephew, uncle, I'm a little short on cash. Lin Fan held his temper. Here's my allowance for this month. I can't go on living like this if you don't give it to me. I'll tell the truth. He'll definitely pay a fortune. I burst through the door. His voice was cold. What truth? Lin Fan jumps up in fright and stands in the rain. Why are you eavesdropping on us? I look straight at Liu Yaoguang. Keep talking about the truth. I can give you money. How much can you give me? Liu Yaoguang's eyes lit up. Lin Fan frantically handed over the money you asked for. I'll find a way to get it to you. You can get lost. Liu Yaoguang whispered to me before leaving, my eldest nephew. This secret of mine will always be safe with you. As long as you pay the price, I'll definitely sell it to. I'll sell it to you. I'll send a message to GUA. Check on Liu Yaoguang. Turns around to see Lin Fan about to leave. I said calmly, if you want to keep it a secret, you must not do it yourself. The matter between you and Liu Yaoguang. You thought I wouldn't find out. Lin Fan's figure flickered. What are you talking about? I don't understand. What kind of leverage does he have over me? That he's got you giving him money every month? What nonsense are you talking about? I advise you, if you've been through this, you should really think carefully about your future. Don't waste your time on me. Where is Liu Li? That's your mom? You ask me how I know. Lin Fan quickly fled. I called Liu Li. I want you to come back and apologize to Miss Shen. If I don't, Miss Shen won't let me off the hook. Apologize for me. You're my son. As the mother ages, the child grows. In that case, then don't blame me for calling the police over. Why would you call the police? I'm your mother. It's you I'm going to hit. It's only natural for a mother to discipline her child. I hung up right away. Rory was hurt. Shen Yuchu was eventually detained for 48 hours and returned to the hospital ward. Shen Yuchu holds a meeting in the RV downstairs. I was sitting on the edge of the bed when the old lady suddenly... The family of my granddaughter's husband asked, why are you doing this? Besides, I saw that brat standing up for you. I'm just too happy to even say anything. The word family brings a tear to my eye. Once Lin Fan has saved up 50,000 yuan, he'll give it to Liu Yaoguang. And tell him to keep his mouth shut. Otherwise, none of us will end up well. He was terrified deep down and just wants to marry Shen Xin as soon as possible. As long as I become a son-in-law of the Shen family, even his identity is exposed, he still has a way out. 9 p.m. Shen Xin suddenly sought out Lin Fan. Lin Fan was pleasantly surprised to see Shen Xin. How did you get here? Shen Xin immediately asked about the situation with the doctor. Have you confirmed everything with him? Lin Fan's eyes flickered. Of course. Then set up a meeting between me and Dr. Yu. Lin Fan nervously tapped his fingers. Dr. Yu has gone abroad. I'll make the arrangements when he gets back. Sister Shen Xin, is there a problem you need to resolve? I'll help you get in touch with him. Shen Xin suspects. Staring at him, I've sent the questions to your email. Send it to Dr. Yu. Ask Dr. Yu to help sort this out. I'll forward it to him right away. Lin Fan knows Mrs. Lin's email password by heart. He discovered that Dr. Lin always replied to Mrs. Lin's emails within seconds and never asks any questions. That's the only way I dare to lie. He's using his phone and immediately forwards it. The professor usually replies to my messages instantly. Sister Shen Xin, please hold on a moment. In the VIP ward. My phone vibrated. I glanced at it. It was an email from Mrs. Lin. Can Xiao Yu help resolve this issue? It turns out the component really is a technical challenge for the Shen group. I let out a scoff. Lin Fan actually asked for my help in Mrs. Lin's name. I replied coldly that I'm only responsible to the Lin family. Issues with the city group are not my concern. Lin Fan's phone rings. He opened the email with a big smile, but the moment he read the contents, his smile froze. Shen Xin furrows her brows and asks what's wrong. Lin Fan suppressed his nervousness. Shang Xiaodao and the doctor say, it will take a few days to resolve this issue. Shen Xin breathed a sigh of relief. That's normal. This question is indeed a bit difficult. I made a bet with the people on Lin Yu's team. Come up with a plan by Friday. Is that okay? No problem, Lin Fan said, though his eyes were darting about. Shen Xin returns to the Shen family home. Her father Shen Yuanji smiles at her for the first time ever. You really are my good daughter. I can't believe you managed to get drive and establish himself in R&D so quickly. Her mother Liu Meijin was so overjoyed she wept. Shen Xin clenched her fists. Since she had chosen the path of an arranged marriage, he would never regret it. As for Lin Fan, it can only be his. On the other side, I sneezed. I went back to work at my desk. The cup is empty. Suddenly, a press in front of me. Shen Yuchu poured a glass of water and set it on the small coffee table. I was taken aback for a moment. Thank you. You're welcome. Shen Yuchu naturally sat back down in his original seat. The little old lady looked at us, grinning from ear to ear. She's already started looking up words in the dictionary. I've named my great-grandchild. The next day, Shen Shen from R&D stopped me during my break. There's an industry networking event on new energy tonight. The people attending are all big names in the industry. I heard the professor might be attending as well. I keep walking. Then what? There's an invitation from the Shen Group's R&D department. I can show you around and meet some people. No need to thank me. He walked into the office without looking back. Team leader Lin Yingqiao let out a maniacal laugh, thinking they could buy him off with just an invitation. Getting caught in the rain doesn't make you that short-sighted. You should know by now. I can provide him with better resources. That kind of party? You think it's the kind of party? At least I can take him there. After work, Master Lin Yingqiao. I have a job tonight. Come with me. I didn't think twice. I sent Shen Yuchu a message about working overtime. Paid for his car. Arrived at the entrance to the party. But a waiter stopped Lin Yingqiao. Excuse me, Ms. Lin. The people from the Shen Group who are coming today have already been reported to us. Your name isn't on the list. Shen Shen walks out holding a glass of champagne. She squints at team leader Lin. Group B R&D tasks. I thought you weren't coming. So I turned you down when I reported in. It seems there's no time for that at home now. I guess I'll just go back. Lin Yingqiao is furious. Shen Shen, you've really gone too far. What gives you the right to turn them down for me? I'm the vice president of R&D. Of course I can help you make a decision. Shen Shen turned to look at me. Lin Yu. Did you get a good look? No. I agree. There's no way you can get through that gate. I'm just saying. Really? I pulled out the email from my inbox. The email invitation sent by GUA. Handing it to the server. Can we go in now? The server just glanced at it and immediately stepped aside respectfully to let him in. Shen Shen's face turned pale, staring at the 10 invitations on my phone. How did you get this invitation? None of your business. I turn off the screen and ask Lin Yingqiao, shall we go? Lin Yingqiao was thrilled and led me inside the venue to introduce me to Zheng Hangshuan, a big shot in the industry. Lin Fan and Shen Shen walked over. President Lin and the other seniors immediately surrounded Lin Fan. When exactly will young Master Lin and the doctor make an appearance? Let's ask them. Frequently basking in the adulation, pretending to be aloof. I'm just here with my fiancé today. Shen Shen also took the opportunity to network. Lin Yingqiao is pushed to the sidelines. The group whispered, GOA will be here soon, aren't you? Don't feel bad. Just swallow your pride and go toast them. So many people want to meet him. I twitched the corner of my mouth. I'll introduce you to Lin Yingqiao later. It's all just me bragging. Just then, there was a commotion at the door. The contract has arrived. Lin Fan, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, straightened his suit and walked toward me. Do you need me to introduce you to President Ji? Shen Shen retorted sarcastically. Do you think GUA is that kind of promiscuous woman? How many handsome guys have tried to hit on her? He remains completely unfazed. You really think you're that charming? Lin Fan leads Shen Shen toward GUA. At that moment President Ji hadn't finished speaking. GUA swept past them like a gust of wind. Amid the puzzled stares of the entire crowd, I rushed over to you in surprise. How did you end up here? This scene caused the entire venue to fall into a deathly silence. Lin Fan's outstretched hand froze midair. Before he could even wipe the smile off his face, it froze into a comical look of terror. Shen Shen was completely dumbfounded. The champagne glass in her hand nearly slipped from her grasp. Mr. Ji, have you mistaken me for someone else? Lin Fan opened his mouth. He is Lin Yu. Just a layabout in our family. I didn't pay him any mind all July. He just stared at me intently. Boss, I've sent you dozens of emails, asking you to attend. You kept saying you were too busy. So you were here on an incognito visit. I smiled helplessly and accompanied the boss to take care of some personal business. Boss. Shen Shen let out a scream. Her voice even changed, man. Jiue, you call him boss. Isn't he that thug's wife's kept man? Jiue turns away with a cold expression. Her gaze, sharp as a knife, fixes on Miss Shen. Please show some respect. The person standing before you is none other than your Shen Group. The core technology you've been desperate to obtain. It is also the one that has never been seen in the rumors. After speaking with the doctor, a stifled gasp erupted from the crowd. It's impossible that Lin Fan has thoroughly tested. He pointed at me and roared. It's clear that the doctor has been in contact with my mom all along. How could he possibly be the illegitimate child? Lin Yu, what exactly did you offer Gua? To make him play along with you like this? I straddled the desk and looked at him coldly. Lin Fan, you stole Mrs. Lin's phone to send an email. You really thought I didn't know about that line? I'm only responsible to the Lin family. Didn't you just get it? Lin Fan's face instantly turned pale. His legs went weak and collapsed right there. Shenshin is on the verge of collapsing. He looks at me. His eyes were filled with regret and absurdity. He always thought I was struggling in the mud. So he wanted to humiliate me with 50,000 yuan. But in the blink of an eye, I became the god he had to look up to. Just then, there was a commotion outside the door. Mrs. Lin, supported by Aunt Nan, actually walked in. He looks healthy. His gait is steady. No trace of yesterday's sickly Lin Yu. Mrs. Lin walked straight toward me. With tears in her eyes, that's the one you developed yourself, isn't it? I nodded. Are you feeling better? Great. Mrs. Lin turned to look at Lin Jinan and Liu Li. Her voice was cold and firm. Zinan, haven't you always wanted to meet Dr. Yu? He's right here. And my trusted aide, Chen Ji, has already told me the truth about what happened back then. Mom stepped forward and stared at Liu Li. Liu Li, you think swapping babies at the hospital can be kept a secret forever? I've been investigating and observing all these years. As a woman, and yet, as a woman, yet he's unusually attentive to other people's sons. I felt something was off for a long time. I've already had the paternity test done. He flung a report at me. Lin Zhenan trembled as he took it. After seeing the result, he spun around and slapped Liu Li's face. How dare you trade your bastard for my son? Liu Li let out a blood-curdling scream. She went completely limp. Lin Fan stared at the report and cried out in despair. I'm the young master next door. I'm the heir. I watch all this coldly. Status, wealth, blood ties, these things that once held me back. Now, in my eyes, they're as light as a feather. Boss, the car's ready. Bua whispered a reminder. I turned to leave, but someone gently grabbed my hand. Shen Yuchu didn't know when. Had come to stand behind me. He changed into a long black dress. The wound on her back was hidden beneath her clothes. But the look in his eyes toward me no longer held its usual coldness. Mr. Ming spoke softly. With a hint of dependence he didn't even realize he felt. Grandma is still at the hospital, waiting for us to come home. I looked at him. The softest part of my heart was gently touched. As I walked out of the banquet hall to go home, Shenshin rushed out, crying with tears streaming down her face. Soaked by the rain, I was wrong. Can you two go back to your college days? I haven't stopped walking. Without looking back, I left behind a single phrase, Miss Shen. You once said that a bastard and a thug are a perfect match. I think you and Ling Fan these days are truly a match made in heaven. Behind him, Shen Xing's desperate cries. And ahead lay the dazzling nightscape of Haicheng. In the car, Shen Yuchu suddenly asked me about that book on neuroscience. When are you going to give it back to me? I raised an eyebrow at him. Mr. Shen is checking up on me. He turned his head to look out the window. His ears turned slightly red. I'm just afraid you and the professor might run off together one day. Grandma would tear down the Shen group. I was speechless. I instinctively wrapped my arm around his shoulder. This time he didn't pull away. The contract hasn't expired yet. Besides, I haven't officially become her husband yet. In 3 months, ALS, the day clinical drug development for Alzheimer's disease is successful. Change to the first rain since the start of autumn. When I came out of the lab, I saw Shen Yuchu standing at the door, holding a black umbrella. On her, wearing that long black dress I've seen countless times. He seemed to have been waiting for a long time. Fine raindrops clinged to the tips of her hair. Grandma asked me to come pick you up. His tone was still flat, but I could already tell from that expressionless face, I can see something slightly different. His ears are red again. I walked over and naturally took the umbrella and pulled him under the umbrella. President Shen came to pick him up personally. I'm flattered. He glanced at me. On the way to the Shen family's old mansion, he suddenly spoke up about that divorce agreement. I turned to look at him. He paused. His gaze falls on the rain-soaked scenery rushing past outside the window. Her voice is so soft it sounds like she's talking to herself. Grandma? I froze for a moment. Then I laughed. What should I do? Shen Yuchu paused, and unusually showed a hint of embarrassment. He said he'd gone to great lengths to find me a son-in-law. I can't leave. I didn't say anything. Just looking at him. He finally turned his head and met my gaze. Outside the car window, the rain was falling lightly. It was so quiet in the car that we could hear each other breathing. His eyes were bright, like starlight after the rain. In the rain he calls my name. His voice cleared, yet with a hint of softness he himself didn't even notice. The one you were going to give to Grandma? We'll start the first course of treatment tonight. She nodded. After a moment of silence she spoke again. Thank you. I looked at her. Suddenly I felt like teasing her. Just a verbal thank you. She paused for a moment, as if she hadn't expected me to say that. That face, usually as cold as ice, actually showed a hint of helplessness. I laughed. I reached out and ruffled his hair to tease him. He glared at me, but didn't pull away from my hand. The car stopped at the entrance to the Shen family's old mansion. The rain has stopped. A sliver of sunset peeks through the horizon. The little old lady has been waiting at the door for a while. She saw us get out of the car. He immediately came over with a smile, taking my hand, holding Shen Yuchu with one hand, dragging us into the house. Hurry, we're just waiting for you to serve dinner. At the dinner table, the little old lady will serve me some food in a moment. One moment she's serving me, all the while muttering that her grandson-in-law should eat more. You little brat, eat more too. You've both lost weight. For once Shen Yuchu didn't object to being called that brat. She simply ate in silence, occasionally glancing up at me. After dinner, the little old lady pulled us over to sit in the courtyard and drink tea. The setting sun bathed the entire courtyard in warm hues. The air carries the scent of earth after rain. The little old lady suddenly said, "My granddaughter's husband? You little brat, I've got something to tell you." My colleague Shen Yuchu and I looked at him. The little old lady smiled sweetly, but there's a sparkle in her eyes. I remember now. I was taken aback. How did the two of you get married? I remember now. So our marriage certificate was all arranged by the old lady. We were just unwitting witnesses. The little old lady smiled warmly at my grandson-in-law. You won't hold it against me, will you? I'll see what Shen Yuchu says. Then I look at the little old lady. Otherwise, it wouldn't be strange if she laughed. The little old lady is satisfied. She nods slightly. Then he looks at the two of us. Otherwise say, so when are you planning to have the wedding? Shen Yuchu couldn't sit still any longer. He stood up, ready to leave. The little old lady grabbed him by the arm. Why are you running? You're married and still shy? I watched the scene with a smile. Suddenly I feel, this is probably the life I've always wanted. Shen Yuchu finally broke free from the little old lady's grip. She walked over to me and whispered, let's go. I stood up and said goodbye to the little old lady. She waved goodbye with a smile and slipped a note to me. Once I got in the car, I opened the note. It had a single line written on it, grandson-in-law. If that brat bullies you, just tell me. I'll take care of him for you. I couldn't help but laugh. Shen Yuchu leaned in to take a look. After looking, he was silent for 2 seconds. Then he said, Grandma's handwriting is actually pretty nice. I turned to look at him. He met my gaze. And suddenly asked Lin Yu, what are you laughing at? I looked at him and said earnestly, I'm just lucky. He paused for a moment. What? I got a wife without spending a dime? I said, even though it's fake. It seems like it's about to come true. He stared at me for several seconds, then looked away and out the window. But I saw that slight curve at the corner of his mouth. The car slowly drove into the night. The lights of Haiching flew past the window. Shen Yuchu, I'll ask him if he's free tomorrow. He turned to look at me. I looked at him with a smile in my eyes. Let's tear up that divorce agreement. He was silent for 2 seconds, then let out a soft mm. The sound was very soft, yet it weighs heavier than all the promises in the world. Outside the window, the night in Haiching is deepening. And I feel like this is just the beginning of the night.